So, you want to be a children's author, and you have questions. But I have questions first. Welcome back to my channel, everyone. For those who are new, my name is Eve Daniels, aka The Nerdy Nanny, and I'm a self-published children's author. As a self-published children's author, I tend to get a lot of questions, mostly along the lines of, how does one become a children's author? Which makes sense. And in a previous video, I have ranted at the computer screen for several long moments trying to figure out how the heck am I supposed to answer that? Because I have no idea, or too many ideas, or some combination thereof. In any case, it wasn't helpful. So, this is me, trying to be helpful. So, you want to be a children's author, and it is understandable that you have questions. Writing, creating, and publishing books is hard. It's complicated, and there's a lot of different things that you need to know about, but not all at once. And before we get started, there are 3 things that you should be asking, but not me. There are 3 questions that I need you to ask yourself before we go down this road. So, let's get started. Why are you doing this? No, seriously, because you want to publish a kid's book. That's great. That's not the real answer. Why do you want to be a children's author? Seriously. Have you stopped? Have you asked that question honestly and openly to yourself? Because if the answer is for the money, I'm sorry. Yeah, that's a bad plan. That's a really bad plan. Is it because you want to share stories with the world? That's a great reason. Is it because you're an educator or a teacher and you want to create materials for the classroom? Also completely valid. Maybe you just want to make something special for someone else. Or maybe you want to make something special for you. Whatever your reason is, you need to find it. You need to find out why you want to do this and why you want to put in so much thought and time and energy, because you will need to put in a lot of thought and time and energy. And when you have your reason, you can understand what you need to keep going and how much you're willing to put into it. There's a quote or a meme or whatever you want to call it, motivational poster probably somewhere in an office, that says, when you think about quitting, remember why you started. If the reason why you're doing this is strong enough, you will keep going, and at the end of it, you will have a kid's book that you are proud of and that you want to share with people. And if the reason why you started isn't strong enough or is monetary based or vanity based, then you might want to reconsider whether or not you actually want to get started at all. This is going to be a lot of hard work, and if you're not willing to put it in, maybe you shouldn't start down that road. What is your book's message? And no, I don't mean the story. I'm not talking about the plot. I'm talking about the feeling you have when you read a really compelling story and there are glimpses of emotion and memory and life lesson that stick with you for years. That imprint, that is your message. That is what you are going to be leaving printed into your readers' hearts. And what do you want it to be? I understand asking these questions right up front is probably more intense than some of you were hoping for. But there's a reason why I'm asking them. Understanding the why of why you're doing things, understanding the reason and the message that you want to bring to the world will give you clarity moving forward and help keep you on the path that you want to go down. Not understanding why you're doing things or the message you want to give will confuse things later on, and you will have to try and find a message or a reason. And if it wasn't readily apparent to begin with, it might be harder to find than you think. So, what do you want to leave printed on your readers' hearts? What message do you want them to take from your book? Think about that. Honestly and openly, think about it for 5 minutes. And whatever you write down or draw or feel, that's your message. The third question I am going to be asking you will seem a little straightforward, and that's because it is. Who's your book for? Seems simple, right? Don't say all readers. Because if you open up a burger restaurant and ask, so who is your restaurant marketing towards? And the owner goes, everyone. Really? Everyone? Including vegans? Oh, well, not vegans. Including Muslims? They don't eat beef. Oh, well, not Muslims. Including people who are on a diet? They might not like burgers. Including. Trying to bring something to the world and share it with everyone is a surefire way to make sure that no one sees it. You hear people talk about this all the time: demographic, niche, find your market. And they're right. They're right, because when you're trying to spread the message to everyone, no one will hear you. It's like shouting into a crowd. But when you speak at a normal volume with 3 or 4 people, they're probably all going to hear you. When you're trying to think about who your book is going to be for, you need to envision the reader. Not a reader, not lots of readers, one. When you think about your book, printed and finally in your hands, who do you see reading it? Is it a little boy? Is it a 13-year-old girl who's struggling to figure things out? Is it a child with special needs? Is it the family member of a child with special needs? Is it a person of color? Think about these things and think about the person that you see reading your book. The person that needs to see your book and to hear that message that we talked about before. That is your target demographic, and that is who you're writing this book for. Everything else is irrelevant. That's who you're writing for. I know these questions were probably not exactly what you were thinking when I decided to start giving advice on how to become a children's author, but I promise you, they do help. This is a long, hard road. You need to know why you're doing it so that you know if it's worth it or not. You need to know the message that you want to share, because that is going to shape all of your interactions moving forward. And you need to know who you're writing for, because that's going to dictate all of your marketing efforts and pretty much everything else. So before you go further down this road, go ahead and think about it. Get a piece of paper, write down these questions, and write your answers. Because in 6 months to a year, yes, I said a year, in 6 months to a year, when you are still working on this, and you are tired and exhausted, and you don't know how much more you have left to give, you pull out that piece of paper, and you remember why, and what you wanted to say, and to who. And they'll make it worth it. I hope this helps. I know it certainly helped me when I was trying to figure things out in the beginning. And I look forward to hearing about all of your future projects. Let me know down below what kind of questions you guys have about publishing in general or publishing kids' books in particular, and hopefully I'll try to answer them next time. Until then, be good. Bye. I am a self-published children's author with 6 or 7 books out by now. I tend to lose track, don't worry about it.